We up. All right, shalom to the house of Israel, and happy new moon. We're in a double feast, being that this is our we're going into our Shabbat when the sun is going, as the sun goes down, and also in keeping of our new moon. All right, we've done our prayer, and we want to go real quick into our lesson while we still have time. And I want to address something. I alluded to something the last couple of weeks because of August 19th and all of the hoopla around the 400 years date since the first slave ship came up on the shores of Jamestown, West Virginia. That it marked our 400th year October the 19th, but I know that there were some Israelites, and I received some calls about some concerns about it was did I say something? If I said October, I didn't mean to. I meant August the 19th. Yeah, August the 19th. I know there was some concerns about what was going on, or how did we see it, or how did we view it, or were we going to go into the wilderness, or was we going to go, was the kingdom, was there going to be a regime change on the 400th year? But we want to go over that prophecy today and get a full and better understanding. We did a lesson before, and it's on YouTube, and it's on Facebook as well. It's 400 years in counting. We did that lesson, but that lesson it differs from this lesson because we want to actually go into some the prophecies. We want to go into the prophecies of it. So that's what we're going to do today. So tonight, the name of the day's lesson is 400 Years Egypt, 400 Years America Recounted. 400 Years Egypt, 400 Years America Recounted. All right, so let's go directly to the prophecy. That's Genesis, the 15th chapter. And we're going to start at the 13th verse. I want 13 through 16.
Genesis 15, verses 13 through 16. And he said unto Abraham, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full.
Okay, let's go back up to verse 13, and we're going to take this point by point so we can break this. This is the prophecy. This is the one that they go to say 400 years, we out of here in 400 years. This has got to be the prophecy. All right, so this is the prophecy we got to deal with, right? So let's take it again, verse 13.
Genesis 15, verse 13. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs.
So Abraham, your descendants will be in a land that is not theirs. Come on.
And shall serve them.
And your descendants are going to serve these people in the land that's not theirs. Come on.
And they shall afflict them 400 years.
And they're going to be afflicted 400 years. Read on.
And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge.
Okay, let's go. Let's hold that, and let's go, because I want to deal with this 400 years. Let's go to Galatians real fast. Matter of fact, let's go to Exodus first. Let's find out how long the children of Israel was there between the time the prophecy was spoke and the time that they came back. Just give me Exodus 12 and 40.
Exodus 12 and 40 reads.
Read up for us. Speak up for me, brother.
Exodus 12 and 40. Now, the sojourning of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years.
How long it was?
430 years.
So the time that Yah spoke the prophecy to Abram and the time that they left Egypt was 430 years. 430 years. All right? Now give me Galatians 3 and 17. Let everything be established out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, right?
Galatians 3 and 17. And this I say, that the covenant that was confirmed before of Yehoshua, of Yah in Yehoshua, the law, which was 430 years after,
Come on.
cannot disannul.
It was 430 years. I want to establish that point. That the time that Abraham received the covenant and the commandment, and the time that the children of Israel returned back to the land was 430 years. They returned back to this place 430 years. All right, let's go back to Genesis 15. Start at verse 14.
14 and 13.
Start at 14.
Okay. Genesis 15 and 14. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge.
He's going to judge the nation that our forefathers served. That nation will be judged. Come on.
And afterward shall they come out with great substance.
And they did. Now let's prove. We already proved that it was 430 years that the children of Israel was in the land of Egypt. We proved that point. Let's also prove this point, that they were judged, that the Egyptians were judged behind it. The Egyptians were judged behind the children of Israel serving in that land. I can prove that by getting the precept. Exodus 15 and 3. Exodus 15 and 3.
And it reads, the Most High is a man of war. The Most High is his name.
Verse 4.
Pharaoh's chariots and his hosts hath he cast into the sea.
What did he do?
He hath cast into the sea.
That's the judgment. He killed them. He cast them into the sea. Is that it?
No. His chosen captains also are drowned in the Red Sea.
And his chosen captains were also drowned in the Red Sea. So that was the judgment. That was the judgment. Oh, y'all see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Y'all see where I'm going? That was the judgment. Give me Exodus 12 and 35. So when you break this prophecy down, you be starting to realize this prophecy wasn't talking about right now.
Right. Exodus.
Come on. No, I'm good. Come on.
Exodus 12 and 35. And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses. And they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment.
Keep going.
And the Most High gave the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians.
Come on.
So that they lent unto them such things as they required.
Come on.
And they spoiled the Egyptians.
What happened to the Egyptians?
They spoiled the Egyptians.
They spoiled the Egyptians, meaning the Most High just let us take it right from their hand. They said, can I get that gold? Thank you. When we left Egypt, we left and came out, as the prophecy stated in Genesis, with great substances. We had a whole lot when we left. We had gold, and jewelry, and linen, and clothes. And guess what the Most High did? He touched the Egyptians' mind to the point where they just gave it to us. Can I get that gold? Here you go. They just gave it to us. So this is solidifying that this prophecy was fulfilled in that first Exodus. What he said to Abraham happened when we left Egypt. We came out with great substance. We were there for 430 years, and we returned to our land, the land that he promised us. Give me verse 15.
Exodus 12 and 15?
Yep. No, I'm sorry. Genesis 15 and 15. We take it in verse by verse.
Genesis 15 and 15. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace.
He's talking to Abraham. Abraham, you're going to go to your fathers in peace. Meaning there's no more war for you. You're gonna live a good old life, and you're gonna have a grand old time. And then you're gonna go to your fathers in peace. Come on.
Thou shalt be buried in a good old age.
And you're gonna be buried, Abraham, in a good old age. Verse 16.
But in the fourth generation,
but in the fourth generation does not necessarily mean 400 years. They get that confused. Doesn't necessarily. It could mean 400 years, but not necessarily mean 400 years. Come on.
But in the fourth generation, they shall come hither again.
In the fourth generation, they're going to come, your seed, we're talking about your children, they're going to come here again. They're going to come back here. See, when you talk about the 400 years and we're supposed to be escaping in 400 years, they never read this part. Never read this part, because he's talking to Abraham. He said, 4 generations from now, Abraham, your children, your descendants are going to come back here. So if we're talking about August 19th, we missed a whole lot of time getting back to the land. We missed a whole lot of time. So that prophecy is not talking about, in Genesis, was not talking about leaving America in 400 years. That's not what he was saying. But we're going to prove the timeline here in America, because I got something for y'all, okay? Just hold on. I got something for y'all, all right? Don't get nervous. How long are we going to be here then? Hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on, all right? Give me verse 16 again.
Genesis 15 and 16.
Come on.
But in the fourth generation, they shall come here again.
They're going to come here, Abraham. Your children going to come here where you at. They're going to be here. Come on.
For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full.
So when people are talking about the 400 years, they never say who the Amorites is. Who are the Amorites? Because their iniquity must be full before we leave, right? If this prophecy is talking about America, who are the Amorites? They never bring that up, do they? Right? So we got to go into the scriptures to find out who the Amorites are. So let's take this, let me see. What I want to do, I want to take that part, they shall come hither again. Because Stephanos said something in Acts 7. So let's get Acts 7 real fast. Acts 7 started at verse 1, and I want 1 through 7. Y'all know who Stephanos is? Y'all know Stephanos was preaching, and the Israelites got upset and mad. They stoned him, the young man. They stoned the young man. Y'all remember him? All right, come on.
Acts 7 verse 1 reads, Then said the high priest, Are these things so? And he said, Men, brethren, and fathers, hearken. The power of glory appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dealt in Haran, and said unto him, Get thee out of thy country and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I shall show thee. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans and dealt in Haran, and from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land wherein ye now dwell.
So listen to what y'all got to take that part. Stephanos said our father Abraham was over there in the Chaldeans land with his father. His father died. When he left there, he came into the land where ye now dwell. Where's that? He's talking to other Israelites. So where's that land where he now dwell? Where's that? Where ye now dwell? What's the name of that land? Huh? No. The name of that land where ye now dwell. Stephanos is talking his present time. He's not prophesying. He's talking about his present time. He said the land where ye now dwell is where Abraham came. What land is that? What is it? It's Israel. Israel. Stephanos is saying the land where ye now dwell, Israelites, that's where Abraham came. Right? Make sure you take a note of that. Read.
Then came he out of the land of Chaldeans and dealt in Haran, and from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land wherein ye now dwell.
Where you now dwell. He moved him. He told Abraham to come to this land where you, Israel, are now dwelling, which is Israel. Come on.
And he gave him none inheritance in it. Inheritance in it. No, not so much as to set his foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession.
That he promised he would give it to Abraham for a possession. Read.
And to his seed after him.
And his seed after him. Come on.
When as yet he had no child.
Come on.
And Yah spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage, and entreat them evil 400 years.
So he's reiterating the prophecy of Genesis 15, is he not? He's reiterating that prophecy. Read on.
And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, saith Yah. And after that,
come on,
shall they come forth and serve me in this place.
Did y'all catch it? Read verse 7 again.
And
I want y'all to catch it. You read verse 7 again. Watch what he says. Come on.
And the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge.
We just talked about that. They were judged. The army, Pharaoh's army was judged and was cast into the sea, right? Right. All right, read on.
Saith Yah.
Read.
And after that they come forth and serve me in this place.
And after that they came forth and served Yah in the place of where Stephanos is standing right now. In this place. In this place. So that prophecy Stephanos is stating in Acts 7 was fulfilled. That prophecy was fulfilled. So y'all can get your mind off of Genesis meaning talking about America. It was not. It was not. That prophecy was fulfilled already. Already fulfilled. All right. Give me, let's go back to Genesis 15 and 16.
Genesis 15 and 16.
Y'all with me?
Yes, yeah.
Y'all with me?
Yeah.
I got something for y'all. Y'all with me? All right, don't be sad. Come on.
Genesis 15 and 16. But in the fourth generation there shall come here again. For the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full.
Let's take that into accounting. Who are the Amorites, and what was their iniquity? Who are the Amorites, and what was their iniquity? Give me Wisdom of Solomon. Wisdom of Solomon start the 12th chapter. Start at the 2nd verse. I want 2 through 11.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verses 2 reads, Therefore chasteneth thou them by little and little that offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance.
Read that verse. Read verse 2 again.
Therefore chasteneth thou them by little and little.
It's by little, the Most High want to chasten the wicked. Read.
That offend, and warnest them by putting them in remembrance, wherein they have offended, that leaving their wickedness they may believe on thee, O Yah.
Read verse 3.
For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of thy holy land.
So it was the will of the Most High to destroy the inhabitants, the old inhabitants of our set apart land. It was the will of the Father to destroy them. Guess who was there? The Amorites were there in that land before we got there. Read on.
Whom thou hatest for doing most
odious works
of witchcraft and wicked sacrifice.
So this is what now we're discovering. The inhabitants of the land did odious works, and they did witchcraft, and they did certain sacrifices that the Most High hated. So this is the beginning of their iniquity. Read it again.
Whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of
witchcraft, come on.
And wicked sacrifices.
And they made wicked sacrifices. Verse 5.
And also those merciless murders of children.
What did they do?
Also those merciless murders of children.
Merciless murders of children. Wow. Now we know what the wicked sacrifices were. Wow. Murderers of children. Come on.
And devourers of man's flesh.
And they did cannibalism. They ate men's flesh. Read on.
And the feast of blood.
And they drank blood. Read.
With their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew.
Read on.
And the parents that killed with their own hands.
Come on.
Souls destitute of help.
Verse 7.
That the land which thou esteemest above all others.
Come on.
Might receive a worthy colony of Yah's children.
Y'all said we got to get these devils out of here. They drinking blood, eating fresh, killing their own children, sacrificing them to devils and demons. We got to get them out of here. This is the iniquity of the Amorites. This is their iniquity. So the question is, who are the Amorites? Right? Let's go find that out. Let's go. We got to do a little bit of history reading. Let's go back to Genesis. This is Genesis 10 and 15.
10 and 15?
Yep. We're chapter 10, verse 15. Let's see who the Bible states the Amorites are.
Genesis 10, verse 15. And Canaan begat Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusite, and the Amorite.
The who?
The Jebusite and the Amorite.
The Amorite, come on.
And the Girgasite.
And the Girgasite. So guess what? The Amorites descend from who? Descend from who?
Canaan.
From Canaan. The Amorites descend from Canaan. Who does Canaan descend from? Who? Ham. Canaan descend from Ham. So the Amorites are Hamites. There's this so-called Africans you see over there. They still drink blood to this day. Did y'all know that?
Yeah, I know.
Did y'all know they drink blood?
I know.
I see it's a famous picture going around on Facebook. There's a famous picture going around on Facebook of Hamite children eating feces out of the back of cows behind.
What?
Yeah, they eat doodle too. Eat doodle.
What?
Yes. And drink blood to wash it down.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's how they get down.
Yeah.
Them Hamites is something else.
Wow.
All right. So the beginning of the iniquity of
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever.
It's always one.
So the beginning of the Amorite iniquity is why the Most High ordered their destruction. So let's go through a few scriptures to find out just what these Amorites were doing. All right? Give me Numbers 21, chapter 21, start at verse 21. I want 21 through 26.
And it reads, And Israel sent messengers into Sihon, king of the Amorites, saying, Let me pass through thy land. We will not turn into the fields or into the vineyards. We will not drink of the waters of the well.
Watch what they did.
But we will go along by the king's highway.
Watch what these Amorites did.
Until we pass thy waters. And Sihon would not suffer Israel to pass through his
They said,
borders.
no, you not. He said, Israel, we were in the wilderness then. He said, you're not coming through here. You're not getting past through here. Come on.
But Sihon gathered all his people together.
Instead, he did just what the Edomites did. He got all his people together. Come on.
And went out against Israel into the wilderness.
And he went to the wilderness to fight us. We weren't interested in fighting them. We just said, hey, can we go through here? Can we walk past this way? We just want to get around y'all. We're going somewhere else. We're not stopping here. We're just going around y'all. They said, no. We're going to go to war with y'all. Come on.
And he came to Ias and fought against Israel. And Israel smote him with the edge of the sword and possessed his land from Arnon until Labah.
So you want to fight? Okay. We're going to give you a fight. We smote them and took their land. You want to fight? Cool. We'll fight you. Come on.
Even
down to 26.
Even unto the children of Ammon. For the border of the children of Ammon was strong. And Israel took all these cities. And Israel dwelt in all these cities of the Amorites.
Yeah. We dwelt in all these cities too. You want to fight? Cool. But we didn't utterly wipe them out. Right? Was that 26?
Nope. In Heshbon and in all the villages thereof. For Heshbon was the city of Sihon, the king of the Amorites, who had fought against the former king of Moab, and taken all his land out of his hand, even unto Arnon.
Is that it?
Yep, that's it.
All right, give me Deuteronomy 20 and 16.
Deuteronomy 20, verse 16. But of the cities of these people, which the Most High thy Yah doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth.
Read it again.
But of the cities,
This is the reason why Yah said. We just read why Yah said this. We read because we asked nicely, can we get past you? They said no. Then they went and got all of their men together and said, we're going to go to war with them for nothing. For nothing. This is why Yah said this. Come on.
Deuteronomy 20 and 16.
Read.
But of the cities of these people, which the Most High Yah doth give thee for an inheritance, thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth.
Nothing that breathes. Kill everything. The men, the women, the children, the cattle, their cats, their dogs, their goats, the lambs, the oxen. Everything got to go. They got a pet fish, that got to go too. Read on.
But thou shalt utterly destroy them.
Utterly destroy them. Come on.
Namely, the Hittites and the Amorites,
Kill the Hittites, the Amorites, the what?
the Canaanites,
The Canaanites,
and the Perizzites,
the Perizzites,
the Hivites,
the Hivites,
and the
the
Jebusites,
Jebusites. Come on.
as the Most High Yah hath commanded thee, that they teach you not to do after all their abominations,
All their abominations. Is that verse 18?
No.
Read on.
which they have done unto their gods. So should you sin against the Most High your Yah, or your God. When then shalt besiege a city a long time, and making war against it, to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by force.
Oh, that's 19. I only wanted up to 18.
Okay.
All right. So now that we read a little bit of history on that, we understand what Paul was talking about in 1 Corinthians 10 and 20. So let's get that. 1 Corinthians 10 and 20. Are y'all following me? Y'all let me know if y'all not following me. Let me know. I'll go back and reiterate or whatever you need me to do.
1 Corinthians 10 and 20 reads, But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice, they sacrifice to devils, and not to Yah.
And not to Yah. Read it again.
But I say that the things which the Gentiles sacrifice,
Come on.
they sacrifice to devils,
They sacrifice to
and
devils.
not to Yah.
And not to Yah. Now we know why Paul was saying these things. He's talking about the abomination of the Canaanites, the abomination of the Amorites. Verse 21.
And I would not that ye should have fellowship with devils.
I would not that you, Paul said, I would not that you have fellowship with these devils. Come on.
You cannot drink the cup of the Most High,
Come on.
and the cup of devils.
And the cup of devils. So there you have it right there. Paul is telling you why you got them heathens in your congregation. You can't drink the cup of devils and the cup of the Most High. It's not their time yet. If someone asked me, so you're saying that there's no other nation going to enter into the kingdom? I said, yeah, they'll be there. They'll be there in servitude and as slaves. Yes, they're going to be there. But why are you trying to put them in a position of authority? That's my question.
Exactly right.
They're already in the position of authority. You get anything they want right now. All you have to do is be white in America. You put on a white shirt and a blue tie and you can have the world. You don't need no education. Just be white. All right. Where we at? That was all of 21?
No, it's one more.
All right, let's get all of 21.
I'll start over again. He cannot drink the cup of the Most High and the cup of devils. You cannot be partakers of the Most High's table and the table of devils.
And the table of devils. Give me Leviticus 20. Because these Amorites, surprisingly, have, according to Deuteronomy, they committed an abomination. So we need to discover what their abomination is, because their sin, their iniquity must be full. So when they accomplish all of their iniquity, they have to be destroyed because it's an abomination, according to the prophecy. All right, let's get Leviticus 20 and start at verse 1.
Leviticus 20, verse 1. And the Most High spoke unto Moses, saying, Again thou shalt say to the children of Israel, Whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the strangers that sojourn in Israel, that giveth any of his seed unto Molech.
Read it again.
And the Most High spoke unto Moses, saying, Again thou shalt say to the children of Israel, Whosoever he be of the children of Israel, or of the stranger that sojourn in Israel.
The children of Israel and the stranger being the Canaanites and other nations that was living in the region around about us. Read.
That giveth any of his seed unto Molech.
Giving your seed to Moloch is giving your children. Giving your children to Moloch, idol god that was worshipped in that land. Read.
He shall surely be put to death.
He said, put that person to death. Y'all didn't like them sacrificing their children. He said, put them to death. They gotta go. Read.
The people of the land shall stone him with stones.
The people of the land should stone him. And guess what? We're gonna read later on that Yah stoned the people. Yah himself. Man, we're gonna read that. That thing is something else. Yah stoned them from heaven. Killed him. All right, come on.
And I will set my face against that man, and will cut him off from among the his people.
Come on.
Because he hath given of his seed unto Molech.
Because he gave his seed to the fire, the Molech. Come on.
To defile my sanctuary, and to profane my holy name.
To profane my holy name. What verse is that?
3.
Read on.
And if the people of the land do any ways hide their eyes from the man, when he giveth of his seed unto Molech.
So if he give his child to this devil, he give his child, which is an abomination. If the people say, that ain't none of my business. Read.
And kill him not.
And don't kill the man that did that. Read.
Then I will set my face against that man.
I'm going to set my face against the one that hid himself from it, his eyes from it. Come on.
And against his family. And will cut him off. And all that go a whoring after him to commit whoredom with Molech from among their people.
So you know that the children of Israel did this as well. They gave their children to Molech too. The children of Israel indulged in some of these abominable practices. That's the reason why we were taken off the land. Y'all said, y'all gotta go. Because these people gave their children. They do that. Listen, let me put it this. They do that to this day. The heathen nations do that right now. We talk about it in different conspiracy things, but no, that's happening right now. Right now, today. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, roughly 800,000 children are reported missing each year in the United States alone. That's roughly 2,000 per day. Of those, there are 115 child stranger abductions, meaning there's 115 out of the 2,000, meaning that those are strangers. Like somebody just seen a kid, a kid took them. It's 115 out of the 2,000. That means the other
it's people they know.
It's people they know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Missing children in America, unsolved cases, according to the ABC News, of those reported from the missing and exploited children in America, 33%, they say, 33% are African American. That in itself is a high number, but I believe it's higher.
Me too.
I believe it's higher because we have young people that are never found. Black children, they don't even know how to put out Amber Alert for them.
Right.
So guess what? They may not be calling it Molech today, and then again, maybe they are calling it Molech today.
Right. Exactly.
You understand? What is this crazy Edomite that supposedly snuck in? What's his name? Crazy Edomite. He snuck in and filmed child sacrifice in he said all kind of senators.
Oh, what's his name?
What is his name?
The white guy that he kind
with the
of
raspy voice. Yeah, raspy voice. I can't think of his
What
name.
is his name? But he got a YouTube channel.
He got a YouTube channel. Yeah, I can't think of his name.
Mm-mm.
I can't think of his name.
Mhm.
Yeah, but he supposedly had snuck in and seen a giant owl with his arms like this, and it supposedly had a child in the arms.
What is the
and
name
they
of that
was doing
place?
burning the sacrifice or something. Bohemian Grove.
Yeah.
Bohemian Grove. That's where he supposedly had snuck in and seen this child sacrifice go.
And this is in the States? Where is this?
Yeah, it's the United States. Yeah.
Wow.
He said ex-presidents and senators and everybody was supposed to be there.
Mhm.
Supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
So now that we learned the beginning of the iniquity of the Amorites, which is attacking the children of Israel and child sacrifice, that is the beginning of the Amorites' iniquity. What is the end of the Amorites' iniquity? Meaning the Amorites' iniquity is being full. What is the end of it? So let's see. Let's go to Joshua. Just was talking about this, so we're gonna go and see when the Amorites' iniquity was full. Because what I'm doing by taking y'all through this, I'm proving to you that the prophecy in Genesis 15 has already been fulfilled, and you can see it in Scripture. So you won't say that Brother Yaziku was just talking out of his head, or he's just saying something. You can really see in Scripture. Okay, yeah, this really happened. It's full.
Right.
It did end. This prophecy was met already. Give me Joshua 10. Who getting it from? Which one of you brothers reading you? Joshua 10 and 1. I want 1 through 14.
Joshua
And then
10.
we're going to skip through the chapter on 37 through 40. Well, I want 1 through 14 first. Yeah.
Joshua 10, verses 1 through 14. Now it came to pass when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, had heard how Joshua had taken Ai and had utterly destroyed it, as he had done it to Jericho and her king, so he had done to Ai and her king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were among them, that they feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city and one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all the men thereof were mighty. Wherefore Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, sent unto Hoam, king of Hebron, and unto Piram, king of Jarmuth, and unto Japhiah, king of Lachish, and unto Deber, king of Eglon, saying, Come up unto me and help me, that we might smite Gibeon, for it have made peace with Joshua and with the children of Israel. Therefore the 5 kings of the Amorites,
The 5 kings of who?
of the Amorites,
Okay.
the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, gathered themselves together and went up, they and all their hosts, and encamped before Gibeon, and made war against it. And the men of Gibeon sent unto Joshua to the camp Gilgal, saying, Slack not thy hand from thy servants. Come up to us quickly, and save us, and help us. For all the kings of the Amorites that dwell in the mountains are gathered together against us.
Mm-hmm.
So Joshua ascended from Gilgal, he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor.
So who were the children? Who was Joshua and the children of Israel fighting against? Who were they fighting against?
The Amorites.
The Amorites. They were fighting against the Amorites. So here we see the iniquity has not been fulfilled yet, but it's about to be. We're about to feel it. Come on.
And the Most High said unto Joshua,
Mm-hmm.
Fear them not,
Mhm.
for I have delivered them into thine hands. Therefore shall not a man of them stand before thee.
Come on.
Joshua therefore came unto them suddenly, and went up from Gilgal all night. And the Most High discomfited them before Israel, and slew them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, and chased them along the way that goeth up to Betharon, and smote them to Azekah, and unto Makkedah. And it came to pass, as they fled from before Israel and were in the going down to Bethhoron, that the Most High cast down great stones from heaven.
Read it again. Man, I crack up every time I read this. Read it again, man. Verse 11.
And it come to pass, as they fled from before Israel.
So they was running away from us. They was running away from the men of Israel, right? Come on.
And were in the going down to Bethhoron.
They running down back home to their homeland. Guess what happened, though? Come on.
That the Most High cast down great stones.
The
from
Most
heaven.
High Yah got into the fight. He got into the fight with them. Come on. He got into the fight while Joshua was chasing them. He got into the fight. He started throwing stones at them. He started stoning them. Come on.
He cast down stones from heaven upon them unto Azekah, and they died.
And they died. Come on.
They were more which died with hailstones than they whom the children of Israel slew with the sword.
So he killed more people than all the children, the men of war, children of Israel all together.
Wow.
Can you imagine the Most High sitting up in heaven? He was like, I killed them child killers. Kill them. Kill them. And they running and he's throwing stones at them. He's doing that from heaven. He's in heaven like, kill them. Kill them. These the iniquity.
Y'all ain't doing it fast enough here. Let me
Right.
Let me help you. Let me give y'all a little hand.
Yeah,
All right, come on. All right.
You still read?
Yeah, we still read. Verse 12.
Then spoke Joshua unto the Most High in the day when the master delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel.
Read on.
And he said in the sight of Israel, Son, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon, and the sun stood still.
So they were fighting and the sun started going. It was getting dark.
Yeah.
And they weren't going to be able to fight in the dark, right? So Joshua looked up and said, sun, stay still.
And he did.
Wow.
And moon, stay still. Until we get done wiping they behinds out. Read on.
Wow.
Cool.
And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies.
Come on.
Is not this written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven,
Come on.
and hasted not to go down about a whole day.
For 24 hours. For 24 hours. It stood still because they was killing, they was whipping they behinds.
Stay still.
Stay still.
Stay still.
Stay still.
And there was no day like that before it or after.
Read verse 14.
And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Most High hearkened unto the voice of a man.
The Most High said, I'm going to listen to Joshua. He said, I'm going to listen to Joshua. Son, stay in your place. Listen to Joshua, what he's saying. Because I want to kill all these Amorites. All these Amorites got to die.
Listen,
Read.
this is the part right here. For the Most High fought for Israel.
The Most High fought for Israel. The Most High fought for Israel. Can you imagine the most? Listen, this is a remarkable scripture to me. They're fighting, and the Most High opened up heaven. He said, watch out. You start throwing rocks and start killing them. That is an amazing scripture, man. Amazing. Was that it? All 14?
That's all 14.
All right, drop down to 37. So now you know who the Amorites were, right? And you know that the Most High hated them and what they did, what their iniquity was, right? And their iniquity had to be full. So when you go back to Genesis and you read Genesis, you know that this already happened. The Amorites are gone. This is probably a remnant, 2 or 3 of them somewhere in the world.
Right.
That escaped. But I doubt it. I don't know. All right.
Joshua 10 and 37. And they took it and smote it with the edge of the sword, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof, and all the souls that were therein. He left none remaining according to all that he had done to Eglon, but destroyed it utterly, and all the souls that were therein. And Joshua returned, and all Israel with him to Debar, and fought against it, and he took it, and the king thereof, and all the cities thereof. They smote them with the edge of the sword, and utterly destroyed all the souls that were therein. He left none remaining.
He did what?
Left none remaining.
The iniquity of the Amorites was full right here. Come on.
And as he had done to Hebron, so did he to Debir, and to the king thereof. And he had done also to Libnah, and to her king.
Verse 40.
So Joshua smote all the country of the hills, and of the south, and of the vale, and of the springs, and all their kings. He left none remaining.
He left what?
Left none remaining.
None of the Amorites were remaining. It was over. Over.
But utterly destroyed all that breathed, as the Most High Yah of Israel commanded.
Did we just read that in Deuteronomy 20?
Yeah.
He destroyed all that breathed. You breathing, you gotta go. Joshua wasn't no joke. Wasn't no joke. All right, that's all I wanted out of that. So yes, the prophecy was fulfilled. Y'all judged that nation. The children of Israel came back in the 4th generation, and the Amorites' iniquity was fulfilled. So all three was happened. So y'all can kill that noise with Genesis 15 talking about the 400-year prophecy. I've been telling y'all that for the last 3 years. I've been preaching that for 3 years. Unpack your bags. You ain't going nowhere. I've been saying that for 3 years. All right. So the question now becomes: are there any significant timelines in the Bible in regards to our time spent here in America? The answer is yes, there is, but there is no definite timeline. You can't say with a surety this date and it's over. The Most High only gives us prophecies. He only gives us signs. He only gives us things to look for. Things to look for to say that the time is near. The Bible says things like, "Look up, your redemption draws nigh." Things like that. He's coming in a thief of a night. There's a thief in the night. You know, he doesn't give you a time frame because he know Israel.
Right.
Niggas is wicked. You know Israel?
Yeah.
Wicked as hell. If he told you when he was coming, you'd be sending up to that day.
Right, exactly.
Up to that very hour. He knows it. Give me, so let's go through the timeline, okay? I'm going to give it to y'all now. All right. Everybody know who Ezekiel is? I hope you do. My name is Yazekiel. That's my namesake, okay? Or I'm his namesake, right? So Ezekiel, the 4th chapter, Ezekiel. Let's go through the timeline. It's a bit of reading, okay? So who got it for me? Ezekiel 4. You got it? Okay, it's a bit of reading here. I want the whole chapter. I think it's 17 verses. Okay. It is. I am ready. So we got to go through it. All right. So I'm probably gonna be stopping you and breaking in a little bit, but that's because I want to get clarity of what's going on. Ezekiel, the 4th chapter. We're gonna start at verse 1, and I want 17 verses. 17 verses.
And it reads.
You want to break it up, like you said?
It's up to you.
All right.
And it's verse 1 reads, "Thou also, son of man, take thee a tile, and lay it before thee, and portray upon it the city, even Jerusalem, and lay siege against it, and build a fort against it, and cast a mount against it. Set the camp also against it, and set battering rams against it round about. Moreover, take thou unto thee an iron pan, and set it for a wall of iron between thee and the city, and set thou face against it, and it shall be besieged, and thou shalt lay siege against it. This shall be a sign to the house of Israel."
So verse 1.
Verse 4.
Verse 4. Okay. Read on.
"Lie thou also upon the left side."
He tells the prophet to lie on your left side. Come on.
"And lay the iniquity of the house of Israel upon it, according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon it.
Come on.
Thou shalt bear their iniquity."
You're going to bear the iniquity of Israel because Israel began to go into all kind of abominations, like we said. They begin to go in all kind of divinations. They begin to do all kind of manner of wicked things, right? So now he said, I'm going to punish Israel, and I want you to show them physically, I want you to show them what I'm going to do. He said, lie down on your left side, and lay down according to the number of days, right? Let's read. What did he say?
For I laid upon thee the years of their iniquity.
The years of their iniquity. These days are counted as years. Okay? Read on.
According to the number of the days. 390 days.
390 days. 390 days is a day for a year is 390 years, right? Y'all with me? Okay. All right. Come on.
So shalt thou bear the iniquity of the house of Israel.
So you're going to bear the iniquity of northern kingdom, the house of Israel, 390 days, a day for each year, 390 years. Read on.
And when thou hast accomplished them,
And when you finish that, come on.
lie again in thy right side.
Turn around on your right side after that. Come on.
And thou shalt bear the iniquity of the house of Judah
You're gonna
40
bear-
days.
You're going to bear the iniquity of the house of Judah 40 days. For southern kingdom, 40 days. Come on.
I have appointed thee each day for a
And
year.
I've appointed each day for a year. So 40 years. 40 and 390 is how much? 430 days altogether. A day for a year is 430 years. Now, question. Is Ezekiel in the land of Israel? The prophets have already been in the land of Israel, right? We know that Ezekiel went out through the Babylonian captivity with Jeremiah. But is he in the land? Is he in the land? Yes, he's in the land. So he's in the land. So that 430 year prophecy does not apply here. He's talking about future. He's talking about future. We already did that 430 years between Abraham, Egypt, and the wilderness and back in the land. That was 430 years then. He's talking about something else totally different now. 430, because the children of Israel already went into captivity, into wickedness, and then he's lying down on the left side for 390 days, which is 390 years for the northern kingdom, 40 days, which is 40 years for the southern kingdom. Y'all still with me?
Yes.
Read on.
Therefore thou shalt set thy face towards the siege of Jerusalem.
Towards the siege of Jerusalem. Come on.
And thine arms shall be uncovered. And thou shalt prophesy against it.
Come on.
And behold, I will lay bands upon thee. And thou shalt not turn thee from one side to the other.
Watch this. Come on.
Till thou hast ended the days of thy siege.
Until you have ended the days of the siege. The days of the siege. When was our last siege in Jerusalem? Can anybody tell me the year it was? When was the last temple burned in Jerusalem? 70 AD was the last temple. The temple was burned last. That was in the first century. That was in the first century. Y'all got me?
Yes.
All right. 70 CE, the common area, or commonly known as 70 AD, the first century. All right? Come on.
Take thou also unto thee wheat and barley and beans and lentils and millet and fitches, and put them in one vessel. And make thee bread thereof according to the number of the days that thou shalt lie upon thy side. 390 days shalt thou eat thereof. And thy meat which thou shalt eat shall be by weight 20 shekels a day. From time to time shalt thou eat it. Thou shalt drink also water by measure, the sixth part of a hin. From time to time shalt thou drink. And thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dough.
With what?
With
dung. You shall bake it. Read that part again. Read that part again, because the Most High just commanded him to eat doodle.
And thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that cometh out of a man in their sight.
So he said, the poop that you see come out of a man, take that poop and make your bread with it.
Wow.
I'm telling you, be careful about. You want to be a prophet? He tell you to do some crazy stuff. He tell you to do some crazy stuff. Read verse 12 again.
And thou shalt eat it as barley cakes, and thou shalt bake it with dung that cometh out of man in their sight.
But watch what he said. Watch what he said when the Most High told him to do this. Watch what the prophet said. Come on.
And the Most High said, even thus shall the children of Israel eat their defiled bread among the Gentiles, whether I will drive them.
That's a very important verse. Verse 13, let's read it again. That's a very important verse. Read that again.
And the Most High said, even thus shall the children of Israel.
Just like you eating the dung out of a man's behind, that defiled bread, just like you eating that poop, I'm going to send the children of Israel into servitude. I'm going to send them amongst the Gentiles and drive them amongst the Gentiles, and they're going to have to eat defiled bread, and they're going to have to eat chitlins, and they're going to have to eat pork chop, and they're going to have to eat all the defiled meats and breads that they commanded not to eat. They're going to have to eat it. He said, I want you to show them what I'm going to do. I want you to show them by you physically doing that. They're going to say, what is he doing? The same thing you about going to do. This is the Most High said your punishment is going to be. Is that it? In verse 13?
Yeah.
Verse 14? This is what Ezekiel said when he told him to eat doodle. This is what he said.
Then I said, Ahaya, behold, my soul have not been polluted, for from my youth up even until now have I not eaten of that which dieth of itself.
I have never eaten nothing defiled, y'all. I've never eaten anything defiled. Why are you making me do this? Come on.
Or is torn in pieces. Neither came there abominable flesh into my mouth.
Read.
Then he said unto me, Lo, I have given thee cows, dung for man's dung, and thou shalt prepare thy bread therewith.
He said, okay, yeah, you right, you have it. You've been eating clean and you've been eating righteous. I'm not going to make you eat man's poop. I'm just going to make you eat cow's poop then. Y'all, listen, man, y'all is out. Y'all is something else, man. He said, listen, he said, you right. You right. That's you right. I'm not going to make you eat man's poop. Right. I'm going to make you eat cow's poop, though. Read.
Moreover, he said unto me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight, and with care. And they shall drink water by measure, and with astonishment, in that they may want bread and water, and I be astonished one with another, and consume away their iniquity.
And consume away in their iniquity. So, what I want to go over here is the 390 days, right? He told them to lay on your side 390 days for northern kingdom, because the northern kingdom will go into captivity first, and they will be spread first. Then I want you to go lay on your right side 40 days for southern kingdom, because they're going into captivity next, right? So a grand total of 430 days, a day for a year, 430 years. 430 years. All right, let me explain this. Let's get a historical count from when the slave ships began to come over here in the Western Hemisphere. If you go to, let's see here. Before I get off into the math, let's get off into this. When I sent you there, the transatlantic slave trade started in 1442. So this is anybody can Google this. Anybody you can look this up. The transatlantic slave trade did not start in the 1600s. It did not.
I knew that.
It started in the 1400s. 1492 is the date nationally, worldwide recognized as when the transatlantic slave trade started. 1492. 1492. Read on.
The transatlantic slave trade. Starting in 1492, Africans were part of every expedition into the regions that became the American Spanish colonies. By the beginning of the 16th century, they were brought as slaves to grow sugar and mine gold on Hispaniola, and were forced to drain the shallow lakes of the Mexican plateau, thereby finalizing the subjugation of the Aztec nation. In a bitter twist, the Africans were often forced to perform tasks that would help advance the genocide that would resolve the vexing Indian question. By the middle of the 17th century, the slave trade entered its second and most intense phase, the creation of ever larger sugar plantations and the introduction of other crops such as indigo, rice, tobacco, coffee, cocoa, and cotton would lead to the displacement of an estimated 7 million Africans, between 1650 and 1807. The demand for labor resulted in numerous innovations, encouraged opportunists and entrepreneurs, and accrued deceptions and barbarities upon which the slave trade rested. Some slave traders, often well-respected men of their communities, made fortunes for themselves and their descendants. The corresponding impact on Africa was intensified as larger parts of West and Central Africa came into slave's orbit. The third and final period of the transatlantic slave trade began with the ban on the importation of captives imposed by Britain and the United States in 1807 and lasted until 1860. Brazil, Cuba, and Puerto Rico were the principal destinations for Africans. Since they could no longer legally be brought into North America, the British or the French colonies in the Caribbean, or the independent countries of Spanish America, despite this restricted market, the numbers of deported Africans did not decline until the late 1840s. Many were smuggled into the United States. At the same time, tens of thousands of Africans rescued from the slave ships were forcibly settled in Sierra Leone, Liberia, and several islands of the Caribbean.
All right. Now, we want to take some of those dates that you all heard, and we're gonna work with them, right? We're going to take into account that the prophet Ezekiel said that there will be a punishment for 430 years. Okay. All right. We're going to take also into account that in 1492 is when the Pope said, you know what, we're going to sanction and allow for you to take these so-called Africans into slavery, and that's when the slave ships started to be disbanded from Spain and from the rest of the world. The Pope gave his decree and it's okay to do it, right? So once they start to do that in 1492, we're going to take that date, 1492, and we're going to go from 1492, what's 400 years from 1492? 1892 is 400 years later. 30 years later from 1892 was what? 1922.
How many years later?
30 years.
30 years.
So you want to take your 400 years from 1492 and go to 1892. That's 400 years. You add 30 years on to 1892. It gives you 1922. So now, remembering that we was in the wilderness for 40 years, remember I said in the beginning that a generation is not always 100 years. A generation could be 100 years, 70 years, or 40 years. It depends on which on the situation of the Bible. It could be from father to son, or it could be from from wilderness, like we talk about from wilderness to we got into the land. Like the Bible says, all that generation died. Right?
Right.
It was 40 years between the time we left Egypt and the time we got into the land. Right?
Mhm.
All that generation died. Right? So a generation could also be 40 years. So we want to take into account using that analysis. Right? 40 years. Now I want you to add 40 years to your 1922. Add 40 years to your 1922. And see what you got.
62.
1962. Can anybody tell me what the heck was going on in 1962? Do y'all know what was going on in 1962? The Civil Rights Movement was going on in 1962. The Black Power Movement was going on in the 1960s. You had all kind of even what's Farrakhan's group? What's the name of it? The Nation of Islam was gaining power in the 1960s. Malcolm X was around. He was powerful in 1962. Of course, in 1963, Martin Luther King had his famous I Had a Dream speech in 1963. You had the Black Panthers started in the late 60s, right? 68, 67 to 68, somewhere around there. You had the Young Lords, which was a Puerto Rican movement. They were still Israelites, the Young Lords, in the 1960s. You had all of these various groups beginning to somehow begin to wake up and take a better look at themselves and saying we need to be more natural. We had sisters with afros, we had brothers with afros. We need to be more natural. Y'all remember this? The roaring 60s, right? Now, I know we don't remember it. Most of us don't remember it in here, but we remember heard about it, right? In the 1960s. Guess what else happened in the 1960s? Israelites groups popping up everywhere.
Oh yeah,
Hebrew Israelites groups popping up everywhere. Although it didn't get the notoriety that a lot of these groups, other groups get, they were everywhere. Even Malcolm X started off in the Hebrew Israelite movement. And a lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that.
Malcolm X, before he went over to Elijah Muhammad, he started off with the One West group over there in New York. He started off with them. As a matter of fact, you go to Harlem and you go to the museum in Harlem where they got Malcolm X memorabilia at. If you go there and you look at his Bible, they got it in the glass case. You look down at his Bible, he got it opened up to Psalms 83. And he got written with his own handwriting, the Israelites are black.
Wow.
Written in his own handwriting on Psalms 83. So what's our timeline again? Give it to me again. What's the timeline? This is not a fixed timeline. I want nobody on. Don't message us. Don't send me no crazy text. None of that. I'm not. This is not a fixed timeline. This is an approximate timeline. Okay? Not a fixed one. This is an approximation. All right. Give me the timeline again so we can work with it. 1962 is where we ended up at, or the 1960s, right? All right, give me Hosea 6, start at verse 1.
Hosea 6.
So you can see how Ezekiel, this 430 years, you can see how at the beginning of the announcement that we should be taken into captivity in 1492. You see how that 430 years worked itself up to the 1960s. You see that. All right, come on.
Hosea 6:1 reads, Come, and let us return unto the Most High, for he hath torn.
He has the one that tore us from our land. In 70 AD, he tore us from our land. Come on.
And he will heal us.
And he's the one that's going to heal us again. Come on.
He hath smitten.
He's smitten us means he's beaten us. He's smitten us. Beat us down. Come on.
And he will bind us up.
He's the one that's going to build us back up. Come on.
After 2 days will he revive us.
After what?
2 days will he revive us.
Say it again.
2 days will he revive us.
After 2 days, he will revive us. Read.
In the third day,
And in the third day,
he will raise us up.
in the third day, he will begin to raise us up. Give me Peter 3:8. 2 Peter. Give me 2 Peter 3:8. Kiefer, give me 2 Kiefer 3:8.
2 Peter verses 3 and 8. I'm sorry, 2 Peter 3 and 8.
That's it.
But, beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing,
I don't want you to be ignorant of this. Watch this.
that one day is with the Most High as 1,000 years.
One day is with the Most High as 1,000 years.
And 1,000
And
years
1,000 years
as one day.
as one day. Let's go back to Hosea 6 and verse 2.
Hosea 6 and verse 2 reads, After 2 days,
After 2,000 years. After 2,000 years. Now I said something in the beginning. 70 AD was the first century, right? The first century, right, was 2,000. So approximately 2,000 years ago, our Messiah walked the earth, right? A few years later after that, our temple was destroyed in 70 AD. That's the first century. The first century, right? 2 days later, which is 2,000 years, we're here, right? We're just now entering into our third day. I want to submit to you, we are just now entering into the third day. Read verse 2 again.
after 2 days,
After 2,000 years, come on.
he will revive
He's
us.
going to revive us after 2,000 years, come on.
In the third day,
And in the third day,
he
come
will
on,
raise us up.
he's going to begin to raise us up. It doesn't say he raised us as in past, he already has raised us up. He's starting to raise us up. So we are beginning to be raised up. Come on.
And we shall live in his sight.
Now, living in his sight means that's the end. That's the kingdom. Living in his sight is the kingdom. So after 2 days, 2,000 years, he will revive us after 2,000 years. And in the third day, he will raise us up, meaning we are beginning to be raised up. By the 1960s, by the 1950s, 60s, he was starting to open up the eyes of the children of Israel. Men were coming out of the woodwork. You have a man named William Crosby. William Crosby was born a slave in 1807. He was born a slave, and he began to establish different Israelite communities all over the country, and even some in Africa. He began to establish. So he began to raise us up in that third day. Read.
Then shall y'all know, if we follow on to know the Most High, his going forth is prepared, as the morning,
Come on.
and he shall come unto us, as the rain,
Come on.
as the latter,
Listen closely, as the latter, come on,
and former rain,
and the former rain, come on.
unto the earth.
So what does the latter and the former mean? That it will be both one and the same. So the 430 years it took us to get back to the land in Genesis, at that point it's going to be similar to that, but not the same. It's going to be just like the latter. The former is going to be just like the latter. Just like the latter. All right? All right. We're almost there. A few more scriptures, y'all. Are y'all getting this? Y'all getting this?
Yeah.
Okay, give me we're gonna deal with that 350 years. We're gonna deal with that because this is the timeline we're looking at. It all works in conjunction with one another. The 430, the 2,000 and a half, the 2,000 and a quarter years, it all works in conjunction with one another. It's the same timeline. It's the same timeline. Give me Daniel 7 and 25. Y'all hungry? You ready to feast? Sun going down.
Daniel 7 and 25.
Uh-huh.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws.
Come on.
And they shall be given into his hands until a time and times and the dividing of time. But the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion, to consume and to destroy it unto the end. And the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heaven.
Well, where you at? Where you at?
27.
No.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, I want Daniel. I want
12 and 7.
yeah, I want a 12 and 25.
Yeah. I did that.
Oh, 12 and
Yeah, you was
29.
reading, boy.
I did it. I kept
Yeah,
going
you was
on.
gone.
I was on the mission.
Yeah, give me
Daniel 7:25.
Yeah.
And he shall speak great words against the Most High,
Uh-huh.
and shall wear out the saints of
And
the
he
Most
did
High.
wear out the saints through slavery, through that 430 years of slave ships, right? Or 400 years of slave ships. Come on.
And think to change times and laws.
And he's going to think to change times and laws. And he did. Come on.
And they shall be given into his hand
And we will be given into his hand. Come on.
until a time
100,
and a time
300,
and the dividing of time.
350 years. times, that's twice 200 years. And a dividing of times, 350 years. Give me Daniel 12 and 7. 350 years. Y'all still with me?
Yes.
Wait a minute, you said 100?
A time and a times, the second one times is 200.
Oh, okay. The second one is 200.
The first time is 100.
The first time is 100.
And the second one times, plural, is 200.
Oh, time.
And the dividing of time is 50.
Mm-hmm.
350. 350. Y'all there?
Yeah, now.
Okay, come on.
That's on Daniel what?
Daniel 12 and 7.
Daniel 12 and 7 reads, And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his neck hand, his right hand, and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth forever, that it shall be for a time,
100,
times
300,
and a half.
350 years.
And when he shall have accomplished
Come on.
to scatter the power of the holy people,
Uh-huh.
all these things shall be finished.
All these things shall be finished. He's given us the timeline. He's given us an approximate time. He's given us an approximate time. I'm almost there. Give me Revelations 12 and 14.
12 and 14.
Yep. Revelations 12, verse 14.
Revelations 12 and 14. And to the women were given 2 wings of a great
And to
eagle.
the woman.
To the woman, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
And to the woman
That woman is the children of Israel, the bride of Yahweh Shai.
were given 2 wings of a great eagle,
Mm-hmm.
that she might fly into the wilderness,
Mm-hmm.
into her place,
Come on.
where she is nourished for a time,
100,
and times,
250
and half a time,
years.
from the face of the
On
serpent.
the face of the serpent. Read it again, verse 14. So we can break it down.
And to the woman
The woman is Israel. Come
were
on.
given 2 wings
Uh-huh.
of a great eagle,
Come on.
that she might fly into the wilderness,
We flew into the wilderness of Africa.
into her place,
Uh-huh.
wherein she is nourished for a time,
We was nourished for a time. We was nourished for a time in Africa because we didn't just go to the continent of Africa and then go right from there into slavery. No, we were there for a while. We were nourished there. We built kingdoms there in Africa. Right?
Right.
Okay, come on.
where she is nourished for a time,
Uh-huh.
and times,
Come on.
and half a time,
Uh-huh.
from the face of the
The
serpent.
serpent is, you know who? Your friend of mine, the white man himself.
Hmm.
The devil. We've been exiled out of our land for approximately 2,049 years. We've been exiled out of our homeland approximately 2,049 years. The ministry of Yahweh Shai Messiah was around between 20 and 33. The revolt that we had against the Romans was in 66 CE. The destruction of Jerusalem in the Second Temple was in 70 CE. The last stand we took against the Romans and the Edomites were in 73 AD, or AD or C. Starting from this point, making 2,049 years, almost 2.5 days of the prophecy that the prophecy states in Hosea, lining up with the 350 years for Southern Kingdom here in America. So if you start with 1619 for Southern Kingdom here in this land. You take 350 years, you get the same dates in the 60s. You get the same date in the 1960s, the same date. All right. So when our people begin to wake up. Now, give me the last scripture, Matthew 24 and 36. It's the last one, y'all.
Matthew 24.
Then we can eat.
Matthew 24, verse 36 through 44.
Uh,
But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For
just like the days of Noah, so is the coming of the Son of Man. Read.
For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Come on.
Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken, the other left. Watch therefore, for you know not what hour your master doth come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in that watch that the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not the Son of Man cometh.
That's it.
That's it.
All right. So be ready. The bottom line is, all you August 19th folks that was waiting for August the 19th, be ready anyway. Don't you start changing your name and stuff on there. Don't start changing your name and things like that. Be ready according to the scriptures. Be ready. All right. So I hope you've been edified today with the lesson. All praise to the Most High. And with that being said, we say hallelujah. I hope you enjoy your new moon, because we're going to enjoy the festivities for this evening. So with that being said, shalom.
Shalom.
She said, don't